Okay, I found them, sorry. Here they are here. So this one, I put some watercolor on and just pulled out some details. And same with this guy. So this was a very soft imprint that was, and the rest was plain, and I put the dramatic leaves behind it. This one was a semi-print, so I got a little bit of a print here, and then I continued with the watercolor. So it's really fun to kind of play. You can add colors. You can keep it within the same color family. So what I like to do is take my pencil and just delicately outline some of the details that I might like to keep. So in this case, I'm going to outline what I can see in this print. And it's very light, so you probably can't see it. And then I'm going to maybe add some more of these behind in a more contrast shade and color here, so that it pushes these light ones forward, and we'll see how that turns out. And it's just a nice way to kind of use up your not so successful eco prints. So I'm going to go into these are my Meliang watercolors, and I'm going to go into some greens. So this nice kind of olivey green. I'm using it doesn't have a, number 1 Craft Ammo paintbrush, which I really enjoy using. They're quite versatile paintbrushes. I did do a product review on these, and I really enjoy using them. Actually, they've got a very nice, delicate, fine tip to them on all of them, so you can get some really nice details. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to start working some color and thinking about the veins, using some higher contrast, some more concentrated paint in some sections. I'm going to dilute maybe a whole section here with water, and then drop some color in and see what happens there. And I just play. I literally just play with my paints and see where it takes me. And what I like to do is really kind of just pop the original eco paints, the eco dyed colors here, with and pop them kind of forward by using contrasting colors. Not contrasting, but a richer pigment behind. So I shouldn't say contrast in the light and dark is what I mean to say. So if I pop some darker behind here, it's going to pop this one forward. I'm going to put some in here and show you what I mean. And I really just play with what the print has left me to play with. Just popping these colors in. But you can take the opportunity and really add color here if you wanted to. So if you wanted to, say, add some pinks or intensify the yellows, you can. But you can use those not so successful prints, those eco prints that didn't turn out quite the way you wanted, or not as successful, because you're going to find you're going to eco print a few times till you get a recipe that works for you with your plant matter around where you live. Everybody's going to have something a little bit different. Here's a little purple going in. I've got some kind of purpley residue here, so I'm going to add some to the background. And I'm not thinking about it too much and just dropping it in. See what happens. And then when that dries, you can go over with a paintbrush if you, with a marker if you want. Pull out even more details in your prints. Really no wrong or right here. Just have fun with it. So I'm just going to intensify the green a little bit more down the bottom here. And pull it up in between these two. And I love watching people who eco-dye on YouTube, because their results are just, they're always so different. You can use all kinds of different things to dye with, and so if you watch the rest of the video, I'll show you my method that I use and what materials I use to dye with, but you can use whatever you have handy. There's a lot of other videos out there that can give you even more details, maybe even closer to where you live. So the plant materials and the soil bases and everything are the same as what you might have. So you can see these are starting to pop forward a little bit, which is now kind of showing off the print a little more. It's starting to show off the eco print a little bit more than what it was before. So now it's not wasted. It's not something you would discard or maybe not use in your journals, because now it's really pretty to use. And I'm not going to go through all the paint choices I make, because again, your plant matter would be different. Just kind of use it intuitively. So here I might want to even intensify the color a little, so I can go over my print and play with those colors that the dye has left. So a little bit of purple, intensify that purple a little. So I call this kind of eco-enhancing. And like I showed you before, some of them don't even, a lot of them will be successful and you won't need to do any of this, but this is really fun to play with. I'm going to add a little bit more dark green in here. Just really pop those back one. These forward ones could potentially go a little further down. Could even wrap it right around. And then maybe just watercolor this out a little bit, just soften the edge. Really pop that one in the center. It's a great way to practice with watercolors too. Kind of loosens you up a little bit, because you can follow the direction the print has left you. You don't have to make it up from scratch, so to speak. So I feel like I want to put a little bit of blue in this. I'm going to add some blue into my green. And it's just a soft blue. It's kind of like a gray blue. And I think I want to put a little bit of cooler green in here, just again to add some interest. And like I said, you can add any color palette you want. Maybe we'll do that with this one. So there's some cooler blues going in, cooler greens, sorry. And then I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And then I'll put some veining in. Oh, and we drew one out here, didn't we? So let's paint that one in. Go back into this intense green a little more. And like I said, what's nice is the eco print is kind of giving you guidelines to paint around, and you can play off that, which is a lot of fun. At least I think it is. Drop in paints in, experiment with your watercolors on this, because this can be a great opportunity to explore your medium here and the way you like to paint. Maybe you're a lot less, maybe you're looser than me, maybe you're a little lighter, more rigid. Everybody's got their own style on how they paint. All right, let's jump over to this one. Maybe play on the purples a little with this one, since we've got these nice little purple bits. So let's see some purple here. I'm gonna add some of that blue to it. Just kind of create a fun purple. And then we'll maybe pop I want to make that pretty thin, because I want the texture of the eco print to come through. So I'm not going to go too rich on that, but I'm going to pull the shape of the leaf back out. It's a little lost in this print, so it wasn't quite as successful a print as I had hoped, but now we can play with it. It's not all lost. So let's maybe draw a couple more in here of purple ones. We've got this leaf going this way. So I'm just going to outline that leaf. Light with the pencil. And then we've got these purple ones, so I can do a couple more purple ones going this way. Just nice and loose like this. Let's start with those and see what we think. So I'm going to start with a dark purple. I'm just going to pull this one out of frame a little bit over here so you can see my purples that I'm mixing, I hope. And maybe a little bit of black in there just to rich that purple up. And then we can try and mimic some of these spots. And you can do that too, where you can practice trying to copy what you're seeing in the eco print. It's a good way to kind of teach yourself how to use watercolors too. So I'm just going to be pretty intense on the color here at first. I can always add in here too. I feel like I want to darken this up a little. I'm going to do a couple of dots in this one. I really enjoy eco printing. There's just something really delicate about it. I love to add it to journals. Sometimes I find like the prints are so nice, I don't want to use them. I just want to frame them. And it's a pretty easy process. Once you've done some experimentation, anybody can really do this. It's a great project to do with kids too. Okay, so now I'm going to just add water and blend that out a little bit. Just soften it. I feel like I need to connect these two. Bring this one down a little bit. Let's add another one going out here. So I'm going to do some dots. Of course, you can draw it with pencil first. Make sure that color is nice and intense. Let it bleed, let the watercolor do its thing. Again, practicing, playing with watercolor. You can add a touch of this maybe inside this leaf as well. Just nice and soft. Now, I used alum as a mordant in mine, and I think it's changed the composition of the paper a little bit. It's a little less absorbent, this watercolor paper, than it would be had I not used alum, and it absorbs differently than it would if it was just plain watercolor. But there's alum saturated in this paper, and it has a pretty cool effect when it comes to the watercolor paint as well. So also something to learn about and consider when you are playing with watercolor is what you're actually watercoloring on and those effects that it might have. And you can add some of this really pretty intense yellow. So I'm going to add some yellow. The yellow's quite dirty. I think I'll choose more of this lemon yellow. And I can intensify that. And drop that on this side. So just taking those eco prints to the next level. Really playing. So it's kind of a mixed medium, really. Being inspired by your printing. I'm just going to throw that in there. A little bit of yellow in here. And you just keep going and going. So maybe I will do another one. Let's see, where do I want one? I think I'll put one coming this way now. So I'm gonna be pretty intense with the purple here because I want it to stand out from behind this one. Put some drops in there. I was so happy I finally got some of this done. Some of these prints done because I was really running out of time. Then once the leaves start and the cold evenings come, the leaves change so fast. And then soon you can't print anymore because there's no leaves. That's fun. I like that. Again, you can use your pen after, or pencils, color pencils, whatever you want, and you put even more detail in. I'll intensify this a little bit. Maybe you could pull some of these veins in that are popping through the Eco print. We'll leave that for a second. I'm going to slide this over so we can go back to this green one. And all I'm going to do for the green one, I just want to add some speckles. So I'm just putting on some color and I'm just tapping my brush here just for fun. I might add a teeny bit of veining, just a teeny bit. Just a little detail here. Add it back into this one. Very fine line. Broken, not full line. Just an implied line here. Even pop the top end of this one. I like that one. That one turned out quite pretty. Add a little bit of yellow down the bottom here. And you can just keep going and going, and you can use up all your Eco non-successful ones. Nothing's wasted. And it's a nice kind of project to do because, like I said, you can really play on patterns that are already established. So maybe one more coming out this way. And you do have to wait sometimes for the paint to dry if you want to keep it a little bit more organized. Control your paint a little bit more so it doesn't all bleed in together. Or you can do the wet on wet where you just drop color in and see what happens. So I think I'm going to add a little bit more blue to this purple, a little bit more black. And then I'm going to just add in a little bit more intense dips, just like this one had, the original print. It's going to give that rough texture. Just like this one here. Kind of fun to learn how to mimic what you're seeing too, how to achieve this texture in watercolor. So it is a great practice exercise. Just a real thin line. Really pop those colors. Okay, so that's it. That's what I wanted to show you today. I hope it gives you some inspiration. Stick around if you want to see how the eco dyeing process works. Please feel free to comment for me and for others on how and what you use to eco dye, what mordant you might use, because everybody's got their own techniques and ways of doing it, and it's great to share that on this channel for others. If you have, say, experimented with rust and what else is there? Rust, tin, any kind of metals like that. you use, maybe you've add something else to the paper like onion peel or avocado pit to help dye the paper as well. So yeah, feel free to share that in the comment section for others, because I think that would be really beneficial for people. So that just gives you some ideas. And this is, like I said, some other ones that I've done, just trying to give you an idea. So this was like this one, but much softer. There was a very fine silhouette, and so I just enhanced it with some watercolor, and it still gives off that eco dye vibe, even though it turned out this soft. I've brought it back with a little bit of paint. And the same with this one, where it just popped these soft, delicate eco prints forward by putting some contrast behind, just like this one. I hope that gave you some ideas. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and stick around and for the next video, and we'll see you soon. So keep watching if you want to watch the eco dye and the process. Take care. Bye. So about the watercolor set more, basically just folding these in half and then ripping them in half. I'm kind of holding my camera at the same time. And just gonna fold it in half, rip them in half, and then I soak them in warm water and alum, so they get nice and wet and full of alum. So alum is what I'm going to use as a mordant to hopefully transfer some of the leaves and textures off the plant matter that I'm going to try and eco dye. So here I am filling the pot with some warm water and some alum, dissolving the alum in there. This is what alum looks like. It's basically just a powder. It looks like a salt, a coarse salt. And I just get it at the local kind of bakery shop. So I'm filling this right now. Let me turn that off. I'm at my friend's house, by the way. This isn't my kitchen. I don't have a kitchen yet. Oh, there's a bumblebee in the window. I still am building my house. So I'm dog sitting for a friend right now. And thought I would make a mess in her kitchen while she's away. So I just went foraging. I took her dog for a walk and in the local forest here, and I just picked up a whack load of different kind of plant matters. So I have some I recognize, like the yucca here. He's really pretty. Some are just kind of random. I have no idea what they are, like this guy. No idea. But I'm going to put them in. And we're going to soak the plant matter in alum for a few minutes. Just going to dump the bag. I got probably way more than I needed, but I might just press some of these as well, what I have left. And we'll just see. So there's some, sorry, keep going off camera here. This is some, what is that, goldenrod? Maybe that will release some tannins and some color into our eco dye. Okay, bag, cooperate. There we go. Sorry, again, I'm just holding the camera with one hand, so I only have one hand to work with. So there is it. I'm just going to soak for a few minutes. I'll see if I can get some of the plant matter to absorb, and then we will start laying it out. And then I will show you how I boil them. So I'm going to do two methods. I'm going to try fit it in the pan. I'm going to wrap paper around the tins because I'm hoping they'll rust a little bit. I was hoping they'd be a little bit more rusty, but they're not. The more rust, the nicer I think the turnout is. Rust, I guess, is a metal and also works as a mordant. So I'm going to try that, and then I'm going to just try laying a few, if I have room to lay them flat and weigh them down so the papers aren't rolled. So I'm going to try both. Okay, so what I'll do now is I will basically just take a piece of paper and then go over to my tin here of goodies and lay something. Now, for me, I know that I'm going to want to fold these pages in half for a journal. So I'm going to focus kind of centered and offside. What's wrong, Bub? He wants to go back out. Hang on. I'm back. Okay. Dog sitting. It's a lot of work. So I just snip off a piece, and then I will maybe do something where I lay some pieces on here that will transfer on both sides. So for me, eco dyeing, I'm pretty new to it. I'm just learning as I go. Some are more successful than others. But I really do enjoy, actually I think I'm going to fold this first. I really do enjoy kind of the mystery behind it all and seeing what comes of it all. What things do best. If I was a professional, I'd probably be writing all this stuff down that I'm putting on here, but I'm not. I just like to dabble, forge, and then play. So then I just repeat the process. Again, these are soaking in that alum, and so have the leaves. The paper's probably been soaking for about half an hour, maybe, yeah, about half an hour. I wouldn't go too much longer than that on this watercolor paper, depending on the kind of paper you're using, how much how absorbent it can be, and will matter. So you don't want to use something that's going to break down really quick. Again, I'm using this Strathmore watercolor paper. So it is, I don't have my glasses, what is it? It is 140 pound. So it's pretty thick watercolor paper. So it can take soaking in water for quite some time, which is good. Did I fold that over? Let's try to put layers in. So let's use every sheet we can. And then fold. And then underneath here I have some canvas. I might give that a go as well and see if I can get it to absorb some of these flowers. You need something pretty organic, so silk, cotton, linen. This is canvas and I haven't washed it, so it's probably got sizing in it, so I don't know if it will absorb or not, but there's only one way to find out. I also plan on using some coffee. I don't have onion peels. I like to use onion peels, white onion peel, so it's kind of yellow. It gives the color, the paper, a little bit of a background, like a muted background that I like, but I don't have it, so I am just going to use some coffee, some instant coffee. That is a raspberry leaf. I love eco printing though. Jelly printing those, they're really fun to do. So make sure I'm getting leaves in between every paper. So basically I'm just going to use whatever I pull out here. So that's quite pretty. So in big clusters like this, if I can't spread them out, I'll remove a couple of leaves just so that I get, if it is to eco print properly, I'll get a nice clean print. And then you usually get one on the one side that's stronger, and then this side that's touching it will be a little bit softer. So depending what you're using. So let me just grab a few more here. I'll do 1, 2 more, and then I will come back when they're done. I also usually use flowers, so like a rose leaves or something. Oh, the dog wants back in. Roses or something for color, but it's that time of year where everything's turning. So I'm kind of limited to what's available for flowers. And just going to see what I get out of these. That's the charm about eco dyes. You just never know. Like that. Okay, he wants in. Can you hear him whining? He's high maintenance this weekend. High maintenance dog sometimes. All right. Okay, so I have combined all my papers and all my leaves, and now I'm wrapping elastics around. I want to try and compress the papers as much as possible. I was going to use twine. I might still use it, I don't know, but I'm going to try and use these cheap elastics. You want to squeeze and tighten the paper in contact to the plant matter as much as possible. The tighter the contact, the better transfer you'll get. So again, I'm holding the camera, so I have to pause and kind of do that with 2 hands. And then what I did was I took the leftover tannin water from the paper and added it to my pot here that was soaking with the plant matter. So the alum is now in the boiling pot. And this is an old pot. I don't use this for food or anything. I brought this with me, so I will be boiling the paper. So I forgot to bring things to actually sit the paper on. So I found a stone outside that I plan on using. It's not the best size. It's a bit smaller than the paper, so the contact on the edges of the paper might not be as good, the prints. But I've decided not to do the can simply because the size of the paper won't wrap around. And I've also decided not to do the cloth because, as you can see, it's beading. So there is a, what is that called? Kind of resistance in the, like a waterproofing in this canvas that I need to wash out before I can eco dye it. It's not going to take, so I'm not going to bother doing that today. And then I found that the other half of that stone I'll put on top of the paper, and I'll show you. And then the next time you see me, this will all be boiling, and then we'll do a reveal, and hopefully it's good. I also forgot to say that I'm going to add some instant coffee, so any brand will do. I found some of their instant coffee because I forgot that as well. So I'm going to use some of theirs. So I'm not measuring it. I'm using, say, half a capful and probably 2.5 liters of water, maybe 3. And I just want to tint the water is basically what I do. I want to make sure that the paper doesn't turn out perfectly white. I want some, and because I would normally use, say, onion skins, or you can use an avocado pit too, but I find that goes a little bit pink, and I'm not into the pink. I prefer the yellows and purples and things. So normally I would use potato skins, but they didn't have any, so I don't have any. So I'm just going to try coffee. So here's the bundle, and it's pretty squishy. So I'm going to put that on there. So you can't see it because of the coffee, and it's going to float. And then I'm going to put the big stone on top to hold it under and try and compress those papers as well. Just give it a good push before I put it on the stove. And Whiny, he wants to out again. Come here. Come say hello. Come on. Come on, this is the little guy. Well, he's a big boy. Say hello. Hi. That's Benny. I'm babysitting him this weekend. And he wants in and out, and now there's a dog next door barking, so he's definitely going to want to go out and investigate. Okay, I'll be back. I gotta let the big boy out. Okay, she's boiling now. Woohoo! So I'll probably let this boil for about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, just to see how much fluid we have is kind of how I'm going to gauge it. It is awfully hot, so we'll see if this yields anything. Again, there's not going to be any color in it because I have no florals in there. I have no onion peel. It's just going to be versions of browns, which is what I'm kind of hoping for. Hopefully there is enough compression in there between the flowers and the weight of the bricks and the tie down between the paper, and the flowers can then transfer to the paper, the leaves I should say. So we'll see. Okay, so I let it boil for about 45 minutes. Actually, I let it boil for about, I'm going to say 20 minutes, and then I turned it down to a simmer. So it's just been simmering. I took the stone off, this top stone. However, I've now noticed that all the elastics have snapped. So I don't know if there was going to be enough contact between the papers and the plant matter in order to transfer any images. So we will see. I'm just going to take it out. Ooh, steam. She's still hot. And I'm just going to put it in here out of the water to cool. And there's all the elastics, look. So lesson learned on that. Elastics, especially cheapy dollar store elastics, they don't work so great. So I'm just going to let that cool for a minute so I can handle it with my hands. And then we'll wash the plant matter out and see what we get. Okay, so it's cool enough now. I can pretty much handle them. So I'm going to do a few with you here and see what we got. Because again, I have to hold the camera. Come on. So that is the goldenrod. So not too bad. As you can see, the colors are going to be very muted because again, I didn't use a lot of. The only thing I've used is pretty much green and whatever fall colors are in the papers. So that's kind of pretty. And as you can see, the watercolor paper that I use does hold up pretty good because it's thick. So I didn't get much of a transfer on those. I did get some fun color out of the next one, which I will show you, which was this. So quite a nice little purple transfer there. I think I wish that some of the coffee had leached in a little bit further. So I guess the contact was pretty decent with the papers. There's a nice one. That's quite pretty. That should show up a little nicer too when it's dried. I'll pull the raspberry out. And then lots of yellow. The yellow's quite pretty. Nice little raspberry. And then, what was this? This was just a wild plant. So it's like kind of like a weed in this one. So I couldn't tell you what that was. I mean, you're gonna sample things with what grows around with you anyways. So you're gonna get different results every time. And that's why I love this eco dyeing, because you never know what you're gonna get. Like, I never would have guessed this would have been purple. So I think this went in red. And I'm gonna say this was the yucca. Because I remember cutting off a small top of the yucca, so, and that turned out purple. And it went in originally like an orangey brown. And you can see you're literally leaching out all the colors. They go all this muted kind of green color. And here's more raspberry inside. So that's a really, I love the soft prints. They're actually one of my favorites when they're soft like that. And then a little bit stronger with the purple. So we did get some results considering our elastics busted. And I didn't have a lot of color to add into these, like flowers. I just used some alum, which was really handy, you know, not the cedar didn't do anything, which I figured it wouldn't. I was hoping it would create almost a reverse effect where the coffee didn't penetrate in, but the coffee hardly showed up at all. I might have gone a little, maybe should have coffee dyed them earlier. Coffee dyed the paper first, I don't know. This is definitely yucca here, the yucca tree, which is a funny name, but that transferred quite nice. So this is not residue, this is actual color transfer. So this isn't going to peel off at all. I'm trying close up there. So you can see there's no leaf residue left or plant residue. That's just a transfer of tannins. And that is really pretty. I like that one. All right, I'll do a couple more with you here. That was just a big leaf. I can't remember. This was another leaf that was growing in the side of the road. It's really pretty. Just a kind of, what's the word? Weed. So there's the individual weeds. Again, nice transfer of color there. Browny green. I wonder if these will go lighter or darker when they're dry. Oh, I forgot to put plants in there. What a rookie. All right, one more, because this is kind of exciting. This is my favorite part, is the actual reveal. So let's do this one. Which side is it folded? It's sealed pretty good here. Oh, I forgot to put some in that one too. Well, I really wasn't paying attention, was I? So there's these. This was little grapevine. I was hoping this would transfer because I think that is so pretty and delicate. So I got a little impression, but nothing too big there. Oh, here it is on the other side. So it showed up a lot better on the other side. So like I said, when you're pressing them in between with that little bagel, one side will transfer better than the other. So I couldn't tell you which one though. All right, did I remember to put stuff inside this one? Yes, I did. Well, that turned out pretty cool. That absorbed a lot. Not a full print, but some texture, some interest, and a nice soft yellow again. And I'll do one more. I keep saying that, but I do love doing these. And we'll pull these off. These were just a little tiny tree with little blackberries. I don't know what they were, but again, just kind of like a weed, grows in the bush. Just want to see what happens. And what's fun is where you live in the world, you're going to get different results, different soils, different environments, different results every time, even when you do it over and over again. Here's a maple leaf. Ooh, that turned out beautiful. So the maple leaf was either, I think this one was pretty red when we put it in. So that might make a big difference too, red and green leaves. So that's a really pretty print. And it did a soft version, so you can see dark and light here. All right, should I keep going? You can fast forward me, of course. So there's another yucca that turned out pretty cool. I do like the texture that it leaves behind. That's pretty neat. And this side, not much there. I'll flip it open. Hopefully I remember to put stuff in the middle this time. Okay. So these were just random leaves that I laid on top of each other just to see what would happen. I get a lot of kind of movement and texture in the page. So not too big a result on that. Got a little bit of crisscrossing, a little bit of detail of some leaves. This is quite pretty. This one here had that kind of wild asparagus looking plant, which didn't do much. And then these are kind of the leftovers from the other side of that. Here's one of those big plants that, so you can see the transfer on this one where the details of the veining show up, and then the other side is, it doesn't have much. And that's what I mean by the two showing up. And then it transferred over to this one as well. So we'll pull that off. Some really pretty simple, bright. Again, another page I forgot to put them in. I was too busy talking. Some really pretty fun results with pretty minimal cost. Alum's pretty cheap if you can buy it in, that's so pretty. If you can buy it in bulk, say here in Canada, we have, well, in Ontario, we have the bulk barn. So you could buy all your baking supplies and things like that in there. And so that big bag that I used, it cost me about $8, and I'll get several dies out of that. And then the watercolor paper, of course, I always buy it when it's on sale. Another page I forgot. Dang it. So, and then the plant material. So if you have like a bouquet kicking around that's about to expire, you can use those flowers in your eco dyeing and yield some really beautiful, kind of unpredictable results. Soft papers, harsh papers. That's really pretty, just really soft like that. And yellow, in this case, they're yellow. So I might even try taking these once they dry and sticking them in coffee and see if we can get, see what the reaction of the coffee will be. Will it kind of absorb into this or will it repel it? So you can throw watercolors in there. And if you wanted to say add some pinks or something, you could probably even do that while you're cooking these papers. But I would recommend buying watercolor paper for this project, just so that it can handle this kind of abuse, because you can see it's holding out quite well, like really well. Excuse me. And you don't want to deal with paper that falls apart on you. Sorry, I had a little coughing fit there. All right, we're down to the last. I wasn't going to do all of this on camera, but it's just so much fun. And then we'll let them dry, and then I will show you them dry to see if they get lighter or darker. So just one more here, a couple more. I like the raspberry. I love jelly printing with these, and they're so pretty. But I think I need more of a contrast, so maybe start with a darker paper to really pull out this yellow, or maybe add the coffee in first, like I said, and see what yields that result you get from that. So, okay, big guy, you back? Hi, curious? He's very curious. He's looking for a treat. So this has been fun. I thought I would try and do something while I was away for the weekend, try and accomplish something. And I think we did. I think they turn out quite pretty. So there we go. That's it. All right. Yeah, he needs to go back out. Okay, so I'll come back when these are dry.